The humidity hits you before you even see the sky. It is 11:45 p.m. at Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Manila. The air outside the sliding glass doors is heavy. It smells of aviation fuel, hot asphalt, and distant exhaust. Standing on the curb is a 62-year-old man from Ohio. Let's call him Arthur. He is sweating through a light cotton shirt. He holds a single battered black suitcase. He is watching the chaotic, endless stream of white taxis pull up to the arrivals terminal. Arthur is tired. His knees ache from the 14-hour flight. His eyes are red, but beneath the physical exhaustion, there is a quiet, vibrating current of pure panic. He checks his wallet. He has exactly $400 in cash. In a bank account, thousands of miles away, he has a monthly Social Security deposit of $1,200. That is it. That is the absolute sum total of his financial existence on this earth. He lost the house in the divorce. He lost his savings to a string of medical bills following a minor heart attack 3 years ago. In the United States, Arthur is mathematically obsolete. He is a ghost in the machinery of American capitalism, priced out of the very country he spent 40 years working to build. He did not come to the Philippines for a vacation. He came here because the spreadsheets told him it was the only place left where he could afford to keep breathing. He steps off the curb. He is an economic refugee holding an American passport. Now, let the scene shift. 10 miles away, the air is perfectly conditioned to 68 degrees. We are on the 32nd floor of a luxury high-rise in Bonifacio Global City, BGC. It is the financial epicenter of Manila. Through the floor-to-ceiling glass, the skyline glitters with neon corporate logos and towering cranes. It looks like Singapore. It looks like Manhattan. Sitting on a velvet sofa is Marcus. He is 31 years old. He is staring at the glowing screen of his laptop. He is watching a line on a chart drop violently into the red. Marcus is a digital nomad, a crypto trader, an influencer. If you look at his Instagram, he is living the ultimate dream of geographical arbitrage. He posts photos of infinity pools, private villas, and plates of Wagyu beef. But right now, in the silence of his apartment, Marcus feels a cold, suffocating terror in his chest. His portfolio is highly leveraged. He owes $80,000 to the IRS back in the United States, a debt he has been quietly outrunning for 3 years. His current rent for this glass box in the sky is $2,000 a month. He clicks a button on his screen. An error message flashes. Withdrawal suspended. His exchange has locked his funds. Marcus closes his laptop. The screen goes black. The apartment is suddenly very dark. He realizes, with a sickening drop in his stomach, that he is completely out of money. He is trapped in one of the most expensive zip codes in Southeast Asia, surrounded by wealth he can no longer afford to perform. These two men do not know each other. They will never meet, but they are both participants in the exact same global illusion. They believe the internet promise. They believe that you could take a broken financial reality, put it on an airplane, cross an ocean, and magically turn it into a kingdom. They believe that moving to a developing nation would make them rich. They are about to discover the terrifying hidden mechanics of the expatriate economy, a system perfectly designed to identify desperate foreign capital, extract it, and leave the runner completely stranded. To understand the trap, you have to understand the calculation that built it. We are back with Arthur. It is 3 weeks later. He is sitting at a small plastic table on the sidewalk in Dumaguete, a coastal university town known as a haven for foreign retirees. The sun is blinding. The noise of two-stroke motorcycle engines is deafening. Arthur is looking at a small lined notebook. He is doing the math of his survival. Back in Ohio, his $1,200 didn't cover rent for a one-bedroom apartment. It didn't cover groceries. It meant choosing between blood pressure medication and heating the house in February. It meant standing in the fluorescent aisles of a discount grocery store, counting pennies, feeling the crushing, invisible shame of failing the American dream. Here in Dumaguete, the numbers look like a miracle. His rent for a small concrete house is $300 a month. A meal at a local eatery costs $2. A beer is $1. When he translates his meager dollars into Philippine pesos, the number instantly inflates. He feels rich. For the first time in 10 years, he feels a sense of financial dignity. But this dignity is a psychological mirage. It is a trick of currency conversion. Arthur goes to a modern supermarket in the center of town. He walks down the aisles. He wants a jar of American peanut butter. He wants a block of cheddar cheese. He wants a familiar brand of coffee. He looks at the price tags. The peanut butter is $10. The cheese is $12. He stops in the middle of the aisle. The realization hits him like a physical blow. The Philippines is incredibly cheap, but only if you live exactly like a local earning the minimum wage of roughly $8 a day. If you want to live like an American, if you want American food, air conditioning running 24 hours a day, high-speed internet, and a reliable car, it is suddenly more expensive than living in Ohio. Arthur puts the peanut butter back on the shelf. He walks out of the store. This is the first hidden mechanism of geographical arbitrage. The internet tells you the cost of living is 80% lower. It deliberately omits the fact that the cost of your specific, ingrained psychological comfort remains exactly the same. Arthur realizes he has not escaped poverty. He has simply outsourced it. He walks back to his concrete house. He turns on the single noisy window air conditioning unit. He sits on his bed. The silence of the house is absolute. He does not speak the local language, Bisaya. He does not know his neighbors. He has no family here. The financial stress has been temporarily alleviated, but it has been instantly replaced by something much darker. Profound, inescapable geographical isolation. He came here to buy his life back, but he is beginning to suspect he just bought a cheaper place to wait for the end. Let's return to the glass towers of Manila. It is 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. The streets of Bonifacio Global City are immaculate. There is no trash. There are no overhead power lines. Security guards with polished badges and earpieces stand at the entrance of every single building, strictly controlling who is allowed to walk on the pavement. Marcus is sitting in an artisanal coffee shop. A flat white costs $6. He is wearing a designer linen shirt. He is desperately typing on his phone, trying to reach a customer service representative for his locked crypto exchange. He is being ignored. Look closely at the environment Marcus is sitting in. BGC is not the Philippines. It is a privately owned, heavily militarized corporate utopia built directly on top of a developing nation. It was engineered specifically to attract international capital, multinational corporations, and people exactly like Marcus. When foreign money enters the country, it does not flow down into the local economy. It flows into these hyper-concentrated bubbles of luxury real estate. Marcus believed he was a savvy investor, taking advantage of a lower cost of living. But the developers who built BGC saw him coming a decade ago. They built the luxury condos. They artificially restricted the supply. They marketed them directly to foreigners, with dollars and euros. They created a localized inflation loop. Marcus's $2,000 rent doesn't go to a local landlord. It goes to a massive, politically connected real estate conglomerate. Marcus is not exploiting the system. He is the battery powering the system. His phone buzzes. It is a text message from his landlord. His rent is due in 3 days. If he does not pay, he will be locked out of the electronic keycard system. Marcus feels a cold sweat break out on the back of his neck. He cannot get a local job. It is strictly illegal for him to work in the country on a tourist visa. He has no local bank account. He cannot take out a loan. In the United States, if you go broke, you have a safety net. You have credit cards. You have family couches to crash on. You have bankruptcy courts. In Southeast Asia, if you are a foreigner and your money stops flowing, the ground simply disappears beneath your feet. There is no safety net. You are a guest, and hospitality ends the exact second the capital dries up. Marcus looks out the window of the coffee shop. The pristine streets suddenly look terrifying. They look like a prison made of glass and imported marble. The clinking of ice against crystal glass rings out in a dimly lit cigar lounge in Makati. Sitting in a leather armchair is Mateo. He is 42 years old. He is wearing a tailored suit. He represents a high-end visa consultancy and real estate brokerage. Mateo is a local. He is highly educated, incredibly charming, and possesses a flawless, unaccented American English vocabulary. He makes a very comfortable six-figure income in a country where the average family makes less than $5,000 a year. How does he do it? He sells the illusion of permanence to people who are running from reality. Sitting across from Mateo is a new arrival, an American software developer who just sold his startup and wants to avoid capital gains taxes by moving offshore. The developer is arrogant. He thinks he understands the world. He talks loudly about how cheap everything is here, how he is going to buy land on an island and build a villa. Mateo smiles. He nods. He takes a sip of his scotch. He knows the law. The developer doesn't. Under the Philippine Constitution, foreign nationals are strictly prohibited from owning land. It is a foundational, legal absolute. But the developer has millions of dollars, and he wants a villa. So, Mateo offers the solution. He explains that the developer can set up a local corporation. The corporation can buy the land. The developer can own 40% of the corporation, and local nominee partners, which Mateo's firm will conveniently provide for a hefty fee, will own the other 60%. It is called the 60/40ths rule. The developer thinks this is a brilliant legal loophole. He thinks he is outsmarting the system. He wires $2 million into a local corporate account. Matteo smiles again. Because Matteo knows the dark, unspoken reality of the nominee structure. The developer does not own the land. The developer does not control the corporation. Legally, the local partners own the absolute majority. For years, the developer will build his villa. He will import Italian marble. He will build his infinity pool. But the moment a disagreement happens, the moment the local partners decide they want the property, they can simply vote the foreigner out of the company. If the foreigner tries to sue, he will be standing in a Philippine court, trying to explain that he deliberately created a dummy corporation to subvert the Philippine constitution. The case will be thrown out. The developer will be deported. The land, and the multi-million-dollar villa, will legally revert to the local partners. It happens every single day. Matteo does not feel guilty. He views the foreigners as voluntary participants in their own destruction. They arrive with arrogance. They assume that because their currency is stronger, their intelligence must be superior. They assume the locals are naive. They never realize they are swimming in a tank with apex predators who have spent decades perfecting the art of legally extracting foreign wealth. Matteo finishes his drink. He shakes the developer's hand. The trap closes silently. The fluorescent lights of the Bureau of Immigration office flicker slightly. It is 8 a.m. Marcus has been standing in a line that stretches out the door and around the corner of the crumbling government building. The air is suffocatingly hot. The smell of nervous sweat and old paper fills the corridor. Marcus is here for a visa extension. Because he is not a resident. Because he is running from taxes in his home country. He survives on a tourist visa. Every 2 months he must come to this office, stand in this line and ask the government for permission to stay. He finally reaches the glass counter. He slides his blue American passport across the metal tray. The immigration officer, a woman who looks exhausted and entirely unimpressed by Marcus's designer clothes, opens the passport. She types his name into the computer system. Marcus's heart stops. He has overstayed his previous visa by 3 days because he didn't have the cash to pay the extension fee. He finally borrowed $500 from a friend back home to cover it. He watches the officer's eyes scan the screen. This is the psychological torture of the perpetual tourist. You never belong. You are legally temporary. Your entire existence, your apartment, your relationships, your physical safety, depends entirely on the mood of the person sitting behind this glass counter. If she sees a red flag, if the system decides he has been in the country too long without an investment visa, they can simply deny the extension. They can stamp his passport with an order to leave. If he doesn't have the money for a flight out, they will put him in a holding facility in Bicatan, a heavily overcrowded immigration detention center, where foreigners languish for years, waiting for their embassies to buy them a ticket home. Marcus is suddenly hyper-aware of his own fragility. His arrogance is gone. He realizes that his American passport does not make him invincible. Here, it just makes him a walking revenue stream for the immigration department. The officer stamps the passport with a loud mechanical thud. She slides it back. She demands a late penalty fee on top of the extension cost. Marcus pays it. His hands are shaking. He takes his passport and walks out into the blinding sunlight of the Manila streets. He has bought himself another 60 days. But the clock starts ticking the moment he steps off the curb. He is 31 years old. He has no career. He has no assets. He is living month to month in a country that will never claim him. He is drowning, and he is paying for the privilege of the water. Let's go back to the quiet coastal town of Dumaguete. It is 3 a.m. Arthur is lying in his bed. He is clutching his chest. A sharp, radiating pain is shooting down his left arm. It is exactly how his first heart attack started 3 years ago. He tries to sit up. The room spins. He is terrified. He reaches for his phone. He dials the local emergency number. He struggles to explain to the dispatcher exactly where his house is, because there are no street signs in his neighborhood. 20 minutes later, a basic ambulance arrives. They load Arthur in. They drive him to the nearest private hospital. The fluorescent lights of the emergency room are blinding. A nurse rushes up with a clipboard, but she does not ask for his insurance card. She does not ask for his medical history. She asks for a deposit. This is the brutal, uncompromising reality of healthcare in the developing world. The facilities can be excellent. The doctors can be world-class. But the system operates on a strictly cash up-front basis. If you are a foreigner, and you do not have international health insurance, which Arthur cannot afford on his $1,200 Social Security check, you are required to pay out of pocket. Before they run the tests, before they administer the life-saving medication, the nurse tells him the initial deposit for the cardiac ward is 50,000 pesos. Roughly $1,000. Arthur lies on the gurney. The pain in his chest is blinding. He looks at the nurse. He tells her he doesn't have it on him. He tells her he can get it from the ATM tomorrow. The nurse is sympathetic but firm. The hospital administration requires the deposit. Arthur realizes the ultimate devastating truth of his geographical escape. He moved thousands of miles to avoid dying of poverty in America. But poverty is not a place. It is a mathematical condition. And it followed him here. He is lying in a foreign hospital, surrounded by people who do not speak his language, realizing that his life currently depends on a bank balance he does not possess. He hands the nurse his debit card. He prays the overdraft goes through. He prays to a God he hasn't spoken to in years. The machine beeps. Approved. He buys himself a few more days of life, but his entire monthly check is instantly wiped out. He will have no money for food for the next 4 weeks. He closes his eyes as the doctors finally begin to attach the EKG monitors. The illusion of a cheap retirement is dead. He is just a sick, elderly man, entirely alone on the other side of the planet. The rain begins to fall over the archipelago. A heavy, tropical monsoon that turns the sky the color of bruised iron. In Manila, Marcus sits in his dark, $2,000 a month apartment. The electricity has been cut off. He missed the final payment. He is packing his single suitcase by the light of his smartphone. His crypto exchange officially declared bankruptcy yesterday. The remaining digital numbers on his screen, the fake wealth he used to justify his arrogance, have evaporated into the digital ether. He has a flight booked back to Los Angeles in 4 hours. His parents bought the ticket. He is 31, returning to sleep in his childhood bedroom, facing an IRS audit and a total financial reset. In Dumaguete, Arthur sits in a wheelchair by the window of his recovery room. He is watching the rain hit the palm trees outside. He survived the cardiac event, but the hospital bill was $4,000. He had to call his ex-wife in Ohio. He had to swallow 40 years of pride, break down in tears over a crackling WhatsApp connection, and beg her to wire him the money. She did, but she told him she will never do it again. He looks out at the tropical paradise he thought would save him. It doesn't look like a paradise anymore. It looks like a beautiful green cage. He knows he cannot afford to stay, but he knows he cannot afford to return. He is trapped in the limbo of the global underclass, a man without a country, slowly burning through his final days in a room that demands cash he does not have. And in a dry, perfectly climate-controlled office in Makati, Mateo is pouring another glass of scotch. He is smiling. He is shaking hands with a new client, a newly divorced British expat who wants to buy a bar on the beach. The Brit is talking loudly. He is talking about how cheap the labor is. He is talking about how he is going to live like a king. Mateo slides the contracts across the table. The 60/40th rule, the local partners, the invisible trap, the machine resets. The cycle begins again. The country absorbs the desperate, extracts their capital, and quietly prepares to spit them back out. We are sold a very specific lie in the modern age. We are told that our problems are geographical. We are told that if the economy in our home country is too harsh, if the taxes are too high, if the culture is too demanding, we can simply pack our bags and buy a new reality somewhere else. We watch the videos. We see the infinity pools. We see the smiling influencers claiming they unlocked the secret to a stress-free life for $1,000 a month. But when you truly understand the hidden mechanics of starting over in the developing world, when you see the institutionalized extraction, the psychological isolation, and the absolute lack of a safety net, you begin to feel a lingering heavy discomfort. The most unsettling realization is not that the system preys on foreigners. The truly haunting realization is what this geographical arbitrage says about human nature. We believe that moving to a poorer country will make us rich. But wealth is not just the purchasing power of your currency. Wealth is community. Wealth is institutional protection. Wealth is the psychological safety of knowing that if you fall, the ground will catch you. When you take a broken financial reality and move it to Southeast Asia, you don't fix the reality. You strip away the only invisible protections you had left. You isolate yourself from your family. You remove yourself from your legal rights. You place yourself in an environment where your only value to the society around you is the hard currency in your wallet. And when that currency runs out, the society does not see a human being in need of help. It sees a transaction that has reached its conclusion. Tonight, millions of people will sit in their expensive, cramped apartments in the West. They will look at their bills. They will feel the crushing weight of their debt. They will open their laptops, and they will search for the cost of living in Manila, in Bangkok, in Bali. They will look at the photos of the beaches, and they will feel a knot of hope form in their stomachs. They will believe the illusion They will book the ticket, but they will never see the ghosts waiting for them at the arrivals terminal. The ghosts of the men who thought they could outrun their own poverty, only to discover that the heaviest baggage you carry is the math you tried to leave behind.